Welcome back, everybody, to episode 112 of the Light Warriors Unleashed podcast. Let's talk today about expansion and contraction, about sovereignty, about lighting your light, about shadow work, about how do we move through our expansion portals to be able to hold and be who we really are. I dive into multiple facets, like always, on this podcast episode, just to serve you in the space of. There'll be something that you'll take from this episode, and I only am going to encourage you to lead in that light. How can you take one thing, 5 things from this and activate it and move it through and action it to actually make some shifts and changes in your world? Because a lot of us, with the energy coming through, are being uprooted, upheavaled, unearthed, whatever verbiage you want to use, it's coming through. And the only way through is through. The only way through this is through action, is through alignment, is through trusting, is through dismantling, all the things. And we are right here in this pivotal moment of the collective. So, no further ado, episode 112, Light Warriors Unleashed podcast. Well, what an amazing dynamic time to be alive. This is like, I've been saying this for a long time, but this is like the Academy Awards of soul experiences on Earth right now. And we are seeing potently the dynamic of sovereignty and choice and change and duality at play everywhere. And, coming off of the US election and moving through the field of this open possibility and where the planetary alignments are, and literally what's happening in the collective right now is an upheavaling. And we're being uprooted at the core of who we are right now. And for some of us, this is strangling. And for others, this is liberation. Both are at play in the duality of what we're moving through. So I was tapped in. So I'm literally right now knee deep in doing summit interviews. The Expansion Evolution Summit launches live on November the 27th. And we're doing the pre-recordings of all the sessions. I have 12 speakers at it. It is going to be a powerful place to be. And I will throw the link up in the show notes for this episode. If you want to join in, it's free to attend. You can do the VIP upgrade if you choose that as well. We got some pretty amazing stuff happening over there. But all of this is moving through the collective field right now for us to choose from. And we're in this space right now of massive amounts of choice in expansion, in evolution, in alignment, and how we're showing up in the world and what this means for us as the collective, but what this means for us as one whole person on this earth plane. And we're shaking some trees in the energetic field at this moment in time, and our trees are being shaken. I'm going to sneeze in a moment. When that's going to come through, not sure. Or maybe it's a yawn. Oh, somebody needed to hear that today. Wow, and maybe it was just me. But I feel like this download in this podcast alignment today, we'll call it, in this episode, is really an eye-opening availability or a huge confirmation to the pathway that you're on. One of the astrologers I follow on Instagram was talking about the planetary alignments. Now, I've told you guys before this, if you've listened to the podcast before, I am not an astrologer, nor do I ever pretend to be an astrologer. But we are in an upheavaling and uprooting of energy based on the planetary alignment alone, never mind the actual commitment to the expansion and awakening of humanity. And we're moving through this right now, and it's really mirroring depthful parts of us. I'm in a very huge mirror of disassociation right now, of self-sabotage and self-worth, and about not feeling worthy to have the life I desire to live and being worthy to hold the life I desire to live. And I'm playing right now within 2 timelines, and I'm actively seeing them play out in the world. And when I lean into the unworthiness side, I'm like, why am I over here? What is keeping me rooted in this space to still feel this? What does this mean? Oh, you haven't healed that father wound. Oh, you haven't done the work around your ex-boyfriend. Or, oh, remember that one time when you were in grade 2 and that person said this to you? And I'm like, wow, the landscape is getting depthful. And if we start to tap into this and you start to really be in awareness and you start to really get present in your life, you are going to know what this means. You are going to see it. You're going to feel it. It's going to show up for you. It's going to be one of those undeniable landscapes that you cannot avoid. You cannot, unless you want to play out in your little field of la la land for a little while and get deeper and deeper and deeper into the pit of the hole that you're digging in your world, and go have a great time. However, all of us, every single one of us on earth right now is seeing this happen in our field. And maybe we have awareness to see it, and maybe we don't have any awareness at all around it. And it doesn't matter where you fit in the spectrum. What matters in the energetic capacity is that it's happening. And so bringing it back into the basics today and bringing it back and pulling back the veil on this today, I desire for you to feel into this for your own self. What does this mean for you? What is showing up in your field of awareness today for you to be like, oh my God, that is transpiring, or oh my God, that cycle keeps happening and I forgot about this, or I've been really hiding behind this veil of this, or that unworthiness wound, again, just like Colleen said, is showing up again and again and again and again. We're in a loop timeline almost, unless you break it open. And some of us have been cycling through certain situations and endeavors for a long fucking time. Trust me, I get it, because I am seeing this happen in my world. I'm seeing it transpire in my world. I'm watching it move, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And why is this still here? When 5 years ago I did all that work, or 3 years ago I did all that work, or remember like last fucking week we did that work? Fuck, it's even deeper. I made a post yesterday on Instagram. Oh no, I haven't made a post yet on Instagram. It's going to be today. It's going out. I sent it out as an email yesterday that I have a confession. Most of the shadow work I did within the first 5 to 10 years of my spiritual evolution, I've been on this pathway for 15 plus years now, was surface level. I didn't want to do the work. I pretended to do the work. I was the overachieving student that would be like, I got the work done, when it only hindered my relationships, my path, me, my impact, my potency, my power, my truth, and all the things, because I was scared. I refused to do it. I wanted to hide. I wanted to surface level. I was like, it's just like anything else. I don't need to go that deep in it. We'll just go scratch the surface of that and then move it through. Sorry, you need to drop in, Colleen, and do the work. And if you're not, your whole fucking life is going to collapse. What in the fuck? So I made a confession yesterday on my email, in my email list, to talk about the shadow work and how I was resisting it and how I didn't want to do the work. And I don't know if there's ever a time that we actually step into the space to be like, I want to do the shadow work. Yay, let's go fucking down in the depths of hell inside of our energy and find out all the shit that's been going on there. Guys, I really, really am convinced that none of us are ever ready to do it. However, we need to. If you're listening to this podcast and you've been in my world for a while, or you just found this podcast and you're listening to this exact episode right now, we need to. There is no way that we can shine our light brightly in the world without doing the work. We can't. It's only minimalistic, like we're shining through the little peephole in the fucking wall instead of breaking the whole wall down, which is actually the truth of what you've been called into. But until you start to actually look at the things in your life that you don't want to look at, that you're hiding from, that you're avoiding, that you're, literally ran to a new country to avoid, you cannot fully expand. And it's like, when we start to really look at this and get honest with ourselves, it's like the Band-Aid is no longer a Band-Aid. You can't cover it up. The hole's too fucking big, because you're being called forward into your light. You're being called forward into the space of potency, of alignment, of sovereignty, to reclaim back your rights as a human being in a spiritual experience on earth. That's it. We're not meant to conform in the matrix. We're not meant to be like everybody else. We're not meant to play in a box. We're not meant to adhere to the standards that someone else gives us. We are meant to be here for an experience, but we're meant to remember the potency of the light within us. And we cannot do that without dropping in deeper. when I give you the word expansion in your field, we think about it being this vast opening, which it is. However, in order to get into the vast opening, we have to go through the restrictions and open them up. I just finished doing a summit interview with a woman that does a lot of body work and expansion and body work and somatic releases and breath work. And we talked about this. A lot of us are like this tightly wound in our bodies. And we don't realize that when we start to breathe and we start to release the body from its pain, from its restrictions, that we get to open up in the field. Now, for those of you guys obviously on YouTube watching this, you're seeing me viscerally open. For those of you guys listening to this on your ear, it's like I'm making the movement of like restricting downward and then opening ourselves up through breath. The breath is free to everyone. And it is an expansive tool that most of us have forgotten that is even a tool in our field to utilize, to work with, to be in alignment with, to feel, to endeavor with, right? It's one of those tools, but it's like, when we think about expansion, we cannot expand without contraction. They're opposing energies. The duality is true on this earth experience. We know that to be true. We have black and white. We have night and day. They're dualities. So the same thing with expansion is restriction, is contraction. So literally we have to go through the contraction to move through the expansion. That's the deal. And then we get to the next level and we do it all over again because we're in a new state. We're in a new level. We're in a new energetic coding. And that's how this works. That's how life is moved through. That's what this experience is about. But most of us are stuck in the contraction thinking that that's where we need to play out. And we forget that we can release. You may have heard me say this before. I am my limitation as I am my liberation. So are you. You are your expansion as you are your contraction. And the state you show up in and the thoughts that you think and your value systems and the storylines that you play out are the indicator. Are you expanding or are you contracting? Is it serving your life that you desire to live? The love you wish to have in your life, the money and impact you want to have in the world, your health assets and how you show up in that space, how you are with your family, with your friends, with your self-care. Are you expanding in it or are you contracting in it? What are you up to? What are you doing? Your thoughts are creating a movement. They then create an emotion that then creates an action. Is it serving you? And if not, what needs to change? And when you feel into this and you start to get really honest with yourself, you will know. Trust me, you will know. And I'm playing in the depths right now of some really deep-rooted stuff, and I need to go deeper in because I haven't hit the mark yet because the cycle is still here. And maybe it's not as depthful as it was, and maybe it's not as powerfully led as it was in that vibration, but it's still here. And I'm like, where is the shift? Where's the shift? And I'm like, you haven't gone in deep enough. Fuck. Guys, we call it shadow work for a reason. We call it breath work for a reason. Inner work for a reason. This is the actual work. And today, you know, I got ready to do 2 summit interviews and I was like, I'll record the podcast today. Oh, excuse me. There it is. There's the beautiful sneeze coming through. And I felt the calling after these interviews, like, jump onto the podcast, record it now. Because, you know, when you get into thoughts about things and you start to think about it, and I'm like, I have to go for a walk or a workout next. And I'm like, it's pouring rain. And no matter what, I've got to walk through that rain. So I either walk through the rain for a minimum of 45 minutes with my dog, or I walk through the rain for 10 minutes to get to the gym and then walk home for 10 minutes after that in this rain. I need to decide. And we get to choose decisions every single day. And we get to choose vibrational alignments every day. We get to choose to do the work or not do the work. We get to choose to go back or choose to move forward. We choose it every single day with our actions. However, the impeding energy, and if you look at the base of the energetics, is, am I moving forward in what I desire, or am I restricting myself and staying over here? And when you start to play in that energetic coding and you start to really be honest with yourself, you will find out that most of the time you're playing small, you're scared as fuck, you haven't done the work, you're surface leveling the things, all the stuff. Trust me, I get you. I have been here. I'm in it knee deep in my own shit. Just because I've done a lot of work, or I've been on this path for 15 plus years, or I'm really clear about my mission, or, I've established business, does not mean that I'm not still in my knee deep shit. I am. And I've had to, over the last 6 months, have some really real conversations with people about shit that's going on that I can't shift and change yet. And I don't know why I can't yet. Oh yeah, because I haven't gone deep enough. Yeah, thank you. And I really desire to go deep because I want to get rid of this. I want to heal it. I want to move through it. I want to teach from it. I want to be able to express it into the world. And it's necessary for me because I know that my mission is big enough that if I keep fucking around over here, the people I'm actually meant to serve are never going to be able to find me. It's time. Whatever that means for you, it's time. It's just time. So I breathe into that for all of us. I breathe into that for you, for me, for us, for all of it. I'm safe, I'm loved, I'm free. And if you actually join into the summit, you'll find out one of the speakers dropped that into the field for us through a breathwork exercise as we move through that in our bodies. I am safe, I am loved, I am free. And if that's true, then I can move through anything. I feel that's all I have to say today. In this really short, channeled, potent expansion experience with you. So all I desire for you to feel out of this episode today is, what does this mean for you? And what field are you playing within to maneuver this forward in your life? And I will see you guys all in the next episode.